is mailbag time here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. You got questions, I got answers. We got a lot to discuss here on today's show. In particular, we're going to dive into the possibility of Doug Pederson making a return to Kansas City as he's expected to be axed, fired, whatever you want to call it, from the Jags as their head coach. So could we see a return for Dougie P and KC? We'll discuss that, answer all your questions and more coming up in just a moment. Before we do, folks, I need you not only to subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report, but also join what we call the Noti Gang. The Noti Gang are the folks that have their notifications turned on, and they're the first to know when we have new content here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report, whether it's our daily news and rumors, our live shows, our watch parties, breaking news. If you want to be a part of our next mailbag segment, turn on notifications, and you'll be the first to know when we have new content on the channel. If you're part of the Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comments section. We'll get started with today's show. Shad with a $5 super chat writes in, can I get some credit for saying KC should put Joe Thuney at left tackle last week in the mailbag as he's the best option? Yes, Shad, you were absolutely right about that. That worked out much better than having to play Wanya Morris. Now, ideally, DJ Humphries gets healthy, and he starts at left tackle, and Joe can go back to playing his natural position at left guard. But it's a good temporary solution. I don't like Joe Thuney leaving his natural position long term. I think it's a good Band-Aid for the situation, but I don't think it's a great long-term solution. I think ideally you'd like to have DJ Humphries back. But, Shad, you made a good point. You're absolutely right about that. KC Kingdom writes in, could Doug Pederson return to the Kansas City Chiefs next year? Absolutely he could. Let me tell you about this situation, all right? Buckle in for a second here, folks. So, Doug Pederson, expected to be fired by the Jags as their head coach. Made the playoffs his first year, but it's gone downhill ever since. And that situation with Jacksonville is a mess. Dougie P did a really good job many years ago as the Chiefs OC in the Alex Smith days. Went on to Philadelphia, won a Super Bowl as their head coach. And Matt Nagy, I think, has a decent chance to get a head coaching job this cycle. That would leave the offensive coordinator position open, and the Chiefs looking to bring in somebody. Historically speaking, Andy likes to bring in guys he's familiar with, that he's worked with in the past. And, I mean, you look at Matt Nagy, for example. This is his second stint now as the Chiefs offensive coordinator. He left to go be the Bears head coach and came back and all that. I think for Dougie P, even if Matt Nagy doesn't get a head coaching job and returns as offensive coordinator, Dougie P could come on board as a quarterbacks coach or consultant of some sorts. I think that there's a very good chance Dougie P's back in Kansas City in one shape or form. And I'll add this too. There's another name to also watch, and that is none other than Eric Bieniemy. And I'll say this. If given the choice, if I have to choose between Dougie P and Eric Bieniemy, whether it's to be OC or for a spot on this staff, give me the guy that's won a Super Bowl as a head coach, not the guy that got fired from UCLA. I'm open to the idea of bringing EB back in some way, shape, or form. But if you give me the choice, I'm taking Dougie P every time, and it isn't close as far as I'm concerned. Should the Chiefs bring back Dougie P? Type Y for yes, N for no. Way in the comments section, let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose two or more players in any given category, get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Football, a big deal this time of year on Prize Picks. You can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. And get this, you can get $50 to play for free when you play $5. You don't even have to win to get the money. Go to prizepicks.com/SaleItS, promo code SaleItS. This week on Prize Picks, a little college action for you. Going with Nico to have more than 19.5 rushing yards. Don't make me try to say his last name. We just call him Nico. Will Howard to have more than half an interception. against Tennessee. I've seen enough Will Howard. We saw him play for the Cats over the years. He knows how to make mistakes in big games. He'll do it again. You can get this, folks. You put $20 down on this and it hits, it turns into $60 on Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/SailItS, promo code SailItS. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. All right, Tony writing in. Tony the Tiger. If KC loses versus Houston, how will we still get the first seed in the AFC? Tony, glad you asked. Here's how. Just win 2 out of the next 3. It doesn't matter what the 2 wins come from. Could be against Pittsburgh, could be against Houston, could be against Denver. Just 2 of any of the next 3 games. And you got home field advantage, and it does not matter what happens to the Buffalo Bills. That's all it takes. So, yes, it certainly helps if you beat Houston. Think about this, too. All right, let's say the Bills win out. All right? If you lose to Houston, then you have to play your starters week 18. So it's very important to take care of this now. That way we can rest our guys for a couple of weeks. So not all wins are created equal in that circumstance. The easier you get this done, the quicker you get this done, the quicker you can rest your starters. Goat Mahomes writes in, what's your confidence in Carson Wentz? So at the time of this recording, all signs point to that Mahomes should be back and should be playing on Saturday against the Houston Texans. But if, God forbid, something happens to Patrick Mahomes and we have to see Carson Wentz, I got to tell you, I think Wentz is more than capable of getting the job done. Now, there's a caveat with that. I think Carson Wentz can win you the games you need to, but I don't think Carson Wentz can win you a Super Bowl. Let me explain what I mean by that. I know a lot of people right away, especially since we brought up Doug Pederson earlier, are going to say, well, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Well, that Eagles team was not completely dependent on the quarterback. This Chiefs offense, folks, they depend so much on Patrick Mahomes that if you take Patrick Mahomes out of the equation, you can only get by for so long before it catches up with you. Carson Wentz is not Patrick Mahomes. You cannot win a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. You can win a couple games here and there. If Mahomes, for whatever reason, can't finish out the regular season, you still might be able to get home field advantage with Carson Wentz. But when you're talking playoff time, of beating teams like Buffalo, Detroit, among others, that ain't happening with Carson Wentz. So that's where I'm at with Carson. I'm fine if he has to start a regular season game if we need him in that circumstance. But if we have to call on him in the postseason because something happened to Mahomes, then I'm going to be very worried. Do you believe in Carson Wentz? Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in. Let us know what you think if you believe in Carson Wentz or not. All right, let's go to Gabe. Gabe writes in, would you bench Mahomes this weekend so he can recuperate? I'd let Patrick and the doctors make that decision. If Mahomes is healthy and cleared, play him. Play him by all means. Now, if you are in a situation like you were against the Browns, where you're up by quite a bit and you don't need him to play, don't be afraid to take him out and, avoid further injury. But if Mahomes is healthy and he wants to play, by all means, don't hold him back. He's a competitor. He wants to be out there. I'd play him if he wants to play. David Buck, last question in the mailbag this week. Any chance the Chiefs sign OBJ? OBJ, man, what is this, 2016? OBJ is not the same player he once was. He's had problems staying healthy. I think the Ravens regretted signing OBJ last year and all the money they gave him. I would be very surprised if the Chiefs end up signing OBJ and bringing him in. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I would be very surprised. He's been linked to Kansas City now. This feels like an ongoing rumor for 3 years, but I don't see it happening as far as that goes. Let's ask you, though, should the Chiefs sign OBJ? You got 2 options here. Type OBJ for yes, or type no BJ for no. OBJ for yes, or type no BJ for no. Weigh in, let us know if the Chiefs should sign OBJ. Personally, I'm typing no BJ for no. I don't think they should. I don't think they will. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Join us on Saturday for Chiefs and Texans. We'll see you then.